Let's move on to our fourth and final main topic today. And our fourth and final main topic today gets submitted to us by Nicolas Baron, who writes, "Hey John, big fan of the show. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Since Warner Brothers has moved Godzilla vs. Kong to November 2020, it's being released 2 weeks after Marvel's The Eternals. I know it's 2 weeks after, but could it hurt Godzilla vs. Kong's performance at the box office if The Eternals is great? Thanks. Looking forward to more content. All right. Thanks a lot for that. Here's the thing. This question has kind of come up before, ever since they announced what we all kind of thought was about to happen, the moving of Godzilla vs. Kong that very abruptly got pulled up, moved like 8 months down the line. And now it's opening 2 weeks after Marvel's The Eternals. Going head to head with a Marvel movie is never a good idea. All right, let's just say it's never a good idea to go head to head with a Marvel movie. But I think Godzilla vs. Kong is not going to be affected all that much by The Eternals. I really don't. Now, if Godzilla vs. Kong was being released the week after Eternals, then there'd be a little bit more concern. But honestly, 2 weeks after, I think it's going to be okay. So even for argument's sake, let's say The Eternals opens to 130 million opening weekend. All right, let's say it has a huge opening weekend, 130 million. Well, you can kind of expect it to take about a little over 50% drop going into week 2. That's kind of standard. So in week 2, let's say it makes about $65 million. Okay. Now it's going to drop about another 40% or whatever going into its third week, which would be the first week for Kong versus Godzilla. Well, if it takes about a 40% drop, now you're looking at the movie maybe making $40 million. Now, $40 million is a lot, but it's not like $40 million for one movie means there's nobody left to go see Kong versus Godzilla. If it was opening on the same weekend, that could be devastating. If it was opening on the Eternals' second weekend, that could hurt because that Godzilla's still pulling in The Eternals is still pulling in probably around $65+ million that weekend of the potential box office. But once you get into the third weekend, once you get into the Eternals' third weekend, the number is going to drop significantly from the opening weekend. And there's going to be a lot of potential box office. Now, that doesn't mean that Godzilla vs. Kong can do well. Godzilla Skull Island didn't do great. Godzilla King of the Monsters clearly underperformed. So Godzilla vs. Kong may very well also very much underperform. We don't know. But I don't think it's going to be because of the Eternals. Eternals that's going to be starting its third weekend and will have already made the majority of the money that it's going to make. Now, there is still obviously a possibility here that Eternals turns out to be the best film of the year. Okay, and it makes 200 million opening weekend, and by the third weekend it's making 75 million. Oh, yeah, that's possible. It's possible. But the likely scenario is that it makes anywhere from 120 to 150, which would be huge. And then it drops about 50, 55, 60% on its second weekend, then drops another 35 to 40% going into its third weekend. I just think if Godzilla succeeds or fails at the box office in November of 2020, I think it's going to succeed or fail on its own merits. I really don't think there's going to be a huge impact from an Eternals going into its third weekend. We'll have to wait and see, but I just don't see it being much of an issue. Now, I still don't know how Godzilla vs. Kong is going to do. If you had asked me 2 months before Godzilla King of the Monsters came out how I thought Kong versus Godzilla would do, that's way down the line, Godzilla vs. Kong, hell, I would have said, hey, that's a $800-900 million movie. But then we saw what happened with Godzilla King of the Monsters, and right now I just don't know. The only thing that I feel pretty good about is that the Eternals going into its third weekend is probably not going to be that big of a factor. But maybe it will be. Who knows? Guys, what do you think about all that? Do you think the Eternals are going to play a big role in how well or poorly Godzilla King of the Monsters does? I want to know what you guys think. Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.